Hey, what's going on, Mecha Army? Welcome to the Child of Mecha live stream. I am your host, Tim, the one and only Child of Mecha. What's going on? Happy Thursday. It's Thursday. It's the early episode on Thursday. Here we are, 3 p.m. Eastern. What's going on? Yeah. Hey, look what we got here today. We got that dingo. And, I don't know if Mr. Rushlam is in the chat, but he said on, what was it, yesterday or last night's stream? I can't even remember. They all blend together at this point, but, he said that I don't know fashion. Like, come on, man. Like, I look nice today. Come on. Even during the apocalypse, you gotta get fresh every once in a while, right? Come on. Anyway, welcome everybody. Welcome. Let's see. Let's get it going. Hey, if you want one of these awesome white dingo hats, right? Hit up www.childofmecha.com. Hit the store button up at the top. You'll find shirts, this hat, many more, prints, and all sorts of other cool stuff on there. So go get you some. Aside from that, if you are interested in any of the tools and materials that we will be working with here today, there's an Amazon link just below here on Twitch and YouTube. That side, if you're watching on Facebook, go hit it up. A bunch of cool stuff in there, modeling and materials, and streaming gear if you want to get into it. Obviously, now's a good time, because everybody's home. You got an audience. Books for inspiration and some other cool stuff in there. So go load up. I do get a bit of a commission based off the stuff that you buy, but it doesn't increase the cost for you. So go and load up because it goes to help out the stream. It goes to support all of our endeavors, right? Aside from that, if you are interested in kits and paints, accessories, all that fun stuff, Mecha Decals, which should be shipping out this week, go hit up our good friends right down here in the corner, Adam and USA Gundam Store, right down there. They will have what you need, and they will hook you up. Yes. Anywho, let's see. Shelly's over there in the Mecha Army Facebook group. What's up, Shelly? Good to see you. She says, hey, good luck with the Team SD Buildoff. From Shelly SD. I hope everyone is well. Awesome. Hope you guys are doing good too. That's really cool. Thank you, Shelly. Appreciate that. Shelly's cool, man. Shelly's really cool. So we're gonna continue working on this SD build off, this cursed build, Pabs. I don't know if you guys had seen yesterday, but I had a couple accidents on yesterday's stream. Wasn't fun at all. Kind of bruised my pride a little bit, but that's okay. We're in it to win it, and we're gonna get after it again here today, and we're not gonna get hurt. Knock on some sort of shit. Knock on. Here we go. Knock on wood, right? Yeah. You gotta do the real thing. Gotta do the real thing. Anyway. Alright, so, with that being said, for those of you guys watching here today, we're going to get into some fun stuff. We are going to be working with one of my favorite materials here today. Yeah, this stuff. We're going to be working with this. We're going to be sculpting, forming, all sorts of stuff. We're going to be blending the cuts on the lower legs here, so this should be interesting because we gotta take a lot of stuff into consideration when we're doing this. So this should be a lot of fun. So buckle up, strap in, and let's get this thing going. First and foremost, the hat needs to come off so we can see what we're doing when we put the eyes on here. Let's go camera 2. There we go, and let's get you guys zoomed in so you can see exactly what's going on here. All right. So, here are the lower legs. Now, obviously, we made a cut on both of these to shorten these up a good amount. And right along here, and obviously this, as you can see, is very, very uneven, right? So, we can't just leave it like that because it'll look terrible, right? And that's on both sides. And you can kind of see, you know, the gap and the all that there, you know, that's not gonna look good. That is not going to look good whatsoever. So, we have to come up with a creative solution on how to blend these two pieces together, right? So we're going to be doing a bit of cutting and a bit of epoxy putty to blend everything together. So, it's going to be a test, right? It's going to be a test. So first and foremost, we got to get the unneeded parts removed off of this this leg here. So we're going to remove all these things. We're going to put these in a safe bin over there. Oh, that one just came out in one good chunk. All right, even better. So we're going to work with this. Everything here is pretty much glued together except for these bottom parts here. We can safely remove those, but they are a bit on the fragile side because they're just held in with thin little plastic clips, right? So we don't want to, we don't necessarily want to try and just brute force our way into trying to remove those, right? So, Jimmy's got a question. All right, hang on just a second, Jim. Try and, there we go. We just popped one, and then the other one should pop pretty easily. Maybe. Come on now. There we go. Yeah. All right, so now we can put that off to the bin, save it, and all of that. Julio, thank you for noticing, buddy. Julio, Mr. Clippin' Nubs, he's over there on YouTube. He says, this man got a button down. You ain't got to wear that no more. None of this is real. Dude, you know what? My thought is this. It's okay. It's okay to look good every once in a while. Even during the apocalypse, man. Sometimes you gotta show out a little bit, you know? Even if you don't have a live stream like I do or like what you do and stuff like that. Sometimes it just feels good. It just feels good. So that's what we're doing. We might make this a thing. I don't know. Looking Fly Friday, something like that. I don't know. It's just an idea. I just felt like looking good today. Didn't feel like rocking a t-shirt again. You know what I mean? So that's all. That's all. It's just one of those things. Robert Cotswell's over there on the Mecha Army Facebook group. He says, hey, Tim. What's going on, Robert? Good to see you, buddy. But, real quick. We have a question. Gunpla Fixation, Mr. Jimmy Boo, right? He says, hi, Tim. What is the name of that free vector software you use for drawing and design? I want to design some underskirt detail and no longer have Illustrator. Cheers. I don't use any free software like that. There's a bunch of them out there. I honestly still have Illustrator and everything like that. I still have access to it, thankfully. But I mean, you could bootleg it. I'm not telling you to bootleg it, but it's an option. But what I would say, you know, like there's one called GIMP, but that's more like Photoshop. I think there are free-based vector graphics programs out there, but I honestly, dude, you're gonna have to search for them because I honestly don't know them. Sorry, man. It's one of those things. Yeah. Let's see. Julio said, what? None of this is real. Julio says, this text fucking with you. What now, man? And then there's text following right up. Team Business Casual. No. See, this is me just kind of wanting to look good. Mainly because, and the thing that kind of sparked this was Bill, Mr. Ruslam, and I don't even know if he's in the chat or not. But he said something yesterday that I don't know fashion. And I just kind of like, I just wanted to dress up. Just be like, fuck you. Anyway. Miss John Lynn, she's over there on YouTube as well. How else is Tim going to attract new modelers to his live stream? Well, it's not my stunning personality, that's for sure. Julio says, team ain't going nowhere. There you go. Julio says, clip art studio. Whatever. Tech says, dress for the job you want, Julio. It's decent. It's decent advice. Julio says, I'm going to start dressing like a warlord then. There you go. SketchUp. SketchUp is 3D, though. But Tech says you can do 2D. It's not vector... Like, it's not vector-based. It's not like Illustrator, though, from what I've messed around with. From what I've messed around with SketchUp, it's not like... It's not vector. Can't do, like... I don't know. Can it do, like, Bezier curves and stuff like that? I don't even know. Anyway. I don't give a shit. Anyway. Let's see. Shelly SD, she's now over on YouTube. She says, haha, now I know... why you look a little different today, Team Business Casual. Hey. You know, like I said, I didn't want to rock the t-shirt again. I just felt like, you know, the cabin fever and everything is, you know, sometimes you just gotta, you know, pull a button down out and just rock it. For no fucking good reason. Shut up. Get out of here, Julio. You jerk. Wilson Allenay, he's over there on the Facebook Army, or the, listen to me, Facebook Army, Mecha Army Facebook group. One day I'll get that right. And he says Corel Draw is one option for vector. So there you go. Brandon says, check out Krita. It's a free program. There you go. William Williams says over there on the YouTube, he says, Julio 3D printing is life. There you go. Gumpa fixation. Thanks, guys. Some good suggestions. There you go. Tech says, no, you're right. Not vector. Yeah. With the right plugin, maybe? Eh. If you need a plugin to actually get vector-based, then there are probably better options out there. I'm just saying. Brandon says, are you going to make a new line of Mecha Army button-down and polos? I mean, it's not a bad idea. Whatever. Kyle is over there on YouTube. He says, did I just join right when Tim is telling everyone to touch themselves? What? Anyway. John Lynn says, quit making Tim self-conscious of his clothing. It's dad fashion. It's really not. I just make this shit look good. I mean, I can't help it, right? Anyway. Let's get to work, shall we? Get to work. All right, let's strap the eyes on. Let's go to town. Now, like I said, since we've got some crazy overhang on this on these pieces, we're going to use a combination of cutting that down and then blending the lower parts back in, because if you just used epoxy putty on this and just kind of built it up, you're going to run into some problems with some secondary pieces, and I'll show you why here in just a second. Let me get this ankle piece off here. Come on now. There we go. All right, so we're going to put that one out of the way. Now, like I said, if we just built this up here, this little section right in here would become a lot deeper than what it is right now. And there's a piece that actually has to go in there. This guy right here, this little gray part, right? And that has to sit down there. And that little part right there actually should sit flush with this lower piece, right? But if we build that up, then it's not going to be flush anymore, right? So we're not going to do that. Man, fuck y'all with the dad fashion bullshit. You wish you looked as good as me. Fuck out of here. Anyway. Greedy sons of bitches. But But, so what we're going to do is we're going to start to blend this upper part down. We're going to trim this back a lot, right? And any more that we need to kind of feather in, we'll do that with epoxy putty and make that look all nice and neat. So, let's get to cutting this thing. Actually, you know what? We could probably use the Dremel on that and make short work of it. Yeah, let's do it that way. Let's get the Dremel involved. Alright. Let's see. Let's get the right bit here. Here we are. What is this? Nice baby blue button down. Hey, nothing wrong with a nice blue button down, you son of a bitch. You know what? This is what we should do. I should make you sons of bitches that are going on Mechanism tomorrow night. I should make y'all dress up to get on. Yeah. How about that? How about we do that? Y'all gotta wear a button down and some nice shit to get on. I'll be the only one on Mechanism tomorrow night, because y'all can't even pull it off. Test me. Test me. It'll be High Fashion Friday on Mechanism. It'll be button downism. Try me. Try me. This ain't a democracy. This is a full-on dictatorship. Alright. And I'm fucking Napoleon. Believe it. Julio says, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, right. Try me. Try me, Julio. Try me. Say I won't. Say I won't. Alright. Here we go. Let's get this monitor on so I can see what the hell I'm doing here first. Why do that here? Let's see. There we go. Now we can see what we're doing here and right in front of me. Let's see. Jesus, y'all are going crazy in the chat right now. Julio says, looks like I'm out on Mechanism tomorrow. Wait, you don't have a button down, Julio? Come on now. Zero Kai Tim, you wish you had the drip. Button down? English, Nathan, English, buddy. Williams, Tim, can I get on if I wear my dress uniform? Hey, you never know. You never know. Julio says Napoleon, I'm crying. Hey, what are you gonna do, right? It's the only short dictator I could think of right out of the gate. So, what are you gonna do? Alright. Here we are. Alright, so okay, so that's a good start, right? Who says I got a button down? Then wear it. It ain't that hard. All right, so that's a decent start, right? I didn't want to go too hard with the Dremel because that can get weird. So we're gonna just kind of notch that off of there. That's a lot more feathered in than say this, hard corner over here, right? So that's a really, really good start. We'll hit the other side here with the Dremel, and we'll go from there. Terry T says, hello everyone, I'm watching the stream with caption on. Let's see how well YouTube can capture your speech. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see, right? I like to see how it catches the Dremel sound, yeah? There we are. All right. Got that looking good. All right. Shelly likes the idea of dressing up on Mechanism. She says, haha, do it. Nice. Kyle H says, I've got those woodshop teacher button-ups. Nice. Oh, man. Greek Knocos, he's over there on Twitch. He said, Napoleon wasn't short. He was 5'8", quite tall at the time. Really? Like, you always hear about him being, like, just above a midget, right? Or a short person. Zirkai says, Tim, I have some nice button-up shirts. Where do I sign up to be a Mechanism? Nice. John Lynn says, bold of Tim to assume I dress nicely. Jay stay looking like a Depression-era farmer. I got overalls I can put on. Nice. I don't assume anything, Jay. So, yeah. Trust me. You know what, Julio, you put that in my head. The getting dressed up for Mechanism. Yeah, look at that. Look how good that's coming out, right? That's a great start right there. I'm happy with that. Real happy with that. I am actually surprised that this has worked thus far, right? But yeah, Julio, if we go through with this, it's going to be your fault. Just saying. He had to come in and talk shit. It's going to be on Julio. Clipping nubs. Alright, so basically what we're doing right now is just trying to feather in these two outer pieces, right? And that looks pretty good to start with. It looks like we're going to have to fill in some of this with either super glue or epoxy putty or something, right? Because there's definitely a gap that we're not going to be able to feather in very nicely. And then you got this massive gap right here that, hell, I can fit almost the width of the hobby knife right into, right? So those are things that we have to kind of take in consideration, right? All right. So right now what we're doing is just basically feathering this in by scraping this down to where we need it to be, right? Let's see. Chris Pabs. Ayo. What's up, Chris? Chris, very good that you're here. Hey, are you... Chris, let me ask you this. Are you opposed to getting kind of a nice button down? Not like super dressed up for Mechanism, but, you know, just a nice button down. What do you think about that, Chris? You down for that? You comfortable with that? Because... Julio came on here talking all sorts of shit on my button down here, and I think we might make that the price of admission tomorrow for Mechanism, is just kind of getting a little dressed up. What do you think, Chris? Give us your thoughts. You comfortable with that? He might be. Hope he is. William Wilm says to John Lynn, surely your farm life means you have at least one summer flower dress. Nice. Zero Kai says, LOL, just kidding. I don't think I can be on Mechanism with my shit laptop. There you go. Hey, Bro Builder. Hey, Brian's with me. He says, I got snazzy gear. Yeah. We might make this a thing. We might make this a thing. Yeah. Business casual for Mechanism. Yeah, hey, why not, right? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Chris Pab says, I'd have to dig in the closet for one, but I'm down for a button down. See? Yeah. I like this idea. I'm liking this idea. Julio's like, I'm not doing it, man. Come on. Come on, Julio. Put your money where your mouth is, son. Let's go. Talked all that shit. That's okay. I still love you, Julio. Don't worry. Brandon says Tim starts themed mechanisms every Friday. Next week's theme, Under the Sea. Nice. We all dress as mermaids. Jesus Christ. Great. If that's the case, the Under the Sea, then I will dress up as, what's his name? Aquaman. Mind you, not the Jason Momoa Aquaman, like the old school blonde, orange, green, you know, Justice Friends, whatever, Super Friends Aquaman. I think I actually got a blonde wig in there from like an old Halloween costume. Yeah. Yeah. Julio says, we ain't wearing dress clothes. Come on, Julio. Right? Jay's over there. She says, LOL, Julio's sweating. Right? Like, I've not seen Julio like this defensive. Ever, really. Kyle H says, tag me in Julio, I got you covered. Yeah, hey, I mean, Kyle, you know, we might let Kyle on. Get Manny up in there too. I'm sure Manny can dress up. Come on now. Ruslan says he wants the orange and turquoise super tights. Damn right, man. With the fish scales and everything. The A belt buckle. Hell yeah. I'd rock that. Come on now. Let's see. John Lynn says Julio's scared in all caps. Julio says I'm gonna be a fucking whale. Nice. Fernando Valadares, he's over there on YouTube. He says LOL and build water-based mobile suits. Oh, that's actually a decent idea. I wish I had one though. I don't think I have any water-based suits. Oh well. Julio says, oh shit, Kyle on Mechanism. If Kyle comes on, I'll wear a button down. Kyle, what do you say? Where's Kyle? Kyle, do we get Julio to wear a button down on tomorrow's episode? I think it's a great idea. Honestly. I think it's a really good idea. Come on, Kyle. Where are you, buddy? There he is. I'm done. Gonna be a great B-Day mechanism, John Lynn says. Right? Terry T says, does Canadian tuxedo count as dressing up? Is that the tuxedo t-shirt, Terry? Nice. Kyle says, let's do it. Uh-oh. Julio's gonna pull out like one of those old school 90s all denim freaking button downs. Jay says, Tim, for my birthday, make it business casual, please. I want to see everyone looking snazzy. You know, I really am liking this idea a lot more. Like, the more and more I think about it, and the more and more people talk about it, like, I am really, really liking this idea for Mechanism tomorrow night. I am. I think so. I think what we do is this. Kyle says, we're taking Jay on a birthday date. Gotta dress up. Nice. Oh, Brandon says Canadian tuxedo is all denim. Nice. Nice. Sam L says, I got tuxedo boxers. Hey, that will not count. Sorry, Sam. Julio says, all right, I'm going to dress up. No, you're not, you liar. I'll believe that when I see it. But you know what I think we'll do? Is I think we'll make this, I think we might, why not make it a poll, right? Yeah? Ruslam, Mr. Bill. It's Bill's fault, Julio, for all of this. Because Bill said I didn't know fashion. Well, Bill, here we go. Time to put up or shut up. But Bill says, lumberjack outfit count as dressing up? Or do I gotta go whole Super Troopers to be dressed appropriate? Full on, like, dress uniform from Super Troopers when they were at like that ceremony and everything near the end, full on dress attire. Then Bill, maybe we'll think about it. All right. Julio says I'm gonna be naked underneath. I mean, technically, aren't we all? Yeah. Bill says, I did nothing wrong, LOL. I distinctly remember someone saying that Tim doesn't know fashion. Alright. Okay. Well, we'll put that to the test. Y'all seen the Instagram posts I put up sometimes when I was working. Man, I clean up rather good, I should say. Right? Sam L, dress blues. Hell yeah. Let's see. John Lynn says, please, Kyle. Yeah, dress up, right? Kyle H says, suits or bust. I don't think we need to take it to suits, right? We don't even need ties, all right? Just like a nice button down. No polos, like button down, right? Like shirt with a button front all the way down, right? So no polos. Polos are a cop out. I don't like polos anyways. They just don't. Whatever. But yeah, I think biz casual, I think is, yeah. I think that's a good idea. Kyle H says, oh snap, Jay forcing the uniform out. Right? She says, I want everyone dressed and looking nice. Y'all are handsome. We need to flex that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel good right now. Right? I don't give a shit what all y'all say. Like, you could give me shit the whole 2 hours that we're here. I feel good right now. I don't care. I don't have a job. Guess what? I still feel good right now. Whatever. Right? There you go. Sometimes you got to. Rusam says, Jay, I would join, but cameras break when they aim at me. Nice. You got a face for radio, Bill. Alright, so now we're just kind of feathering this in. That's looking actually really, really good. There's still a ways to go on this because there's still some deformations and stuff like that, and a lot of material that we have to feather into this, but it's looking a lot better. Looking a lot better. Yeah, I think we do this. I think we do this dress up thing tomorrow. I don't even know if I'm gonna do a poll. I may just iron fist this thing and just, hey, this is what we doing. This is what we doing. Brian, Mr. Bro Builder says, count me in. See? Yeah. Julio says, yo, Bill, mad cute. You're trying to see two bears make out. Oh, God. No, man. No. No. Kyle H says, Bill's going to get us hot and bothered, hey. Alright, so, just real quick, before I forget, let me take care of business here, just on one front. Let's get, let's see, mechanism group. Because for those of you that don't know, yes, we have a secret little group for the mechanism crew, so we can plan our shenanigans accordingly, right? Sam L, executive decision. God damn right it is. More like a dictator decision. Alright, so... Kyle, you just got an invite. Welcome to Mechanism, Kyle. Kyle earned his way on. Alright. Yeah. So that's looking much cleaner, right? Look at that. Compared to that, right? This is the side that we're grinding down and all that. That's looking really nice. Looking really nice. Yeah. Let's see. Mr. Bill says, I get mad complaints on my face when there is a blackout. So not so much when the lights work. Hey. Handren, Mr. Hasaki Artie's over there on YouTube. Good afternoon. What's going on, Handren? Chris Pab says those shenanigans are not planned, LMAO. Some are. Some are planned, but yeah, most of them are just... Handren says, when I heard buttonism, I almost fell off the treadmill. And Brian says, planned. Nice. Nice. Bill says, say shenanigans one more time, right? Shenanigans. Let's see. Hey, there he is. Frankie. Retweeted over there on the good old Twitter. Thank you, Frankie, if you're watching, buddy. We miss Frankie. Kyle says, and I get to be me this time, right? Exactly. Chris Pab's no longer the hype man in the background, Kyle. Yeah. Hell yeah. Hosting Frankie RG. What's up, Frankie? Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Look at him. Frankie's all in, man. Frankie's my boy. Love me some Frankie. Frankie, come be on Mechanism with us. We're getting dressed up tomorrow. It's Jonathan's birthday. We're all getting button-downs and showing out. It'll be a good time. Anyway. Let's see. Brandon says, hey, Farbo, what's that restaurant with all the stuff on the walls? Nice. Jonathan says, oh shit, I get to see Kyle. Hell yeah. Julio says, LOL, my little boy's grown up. Right? Oh, Bill, you messed it up. Bill says I want a liter of soda. It's a liter of cola. Liter of cola. Hey, do we have liter of cola? Liter of cola. Yeah. It's okay, Bill. We won't hold that against you. Let's see, William Williams. All right, Julio, time to hashtag Mecha. Put it in the bank with fucking app. Nice. Frankie RG, he's over there on Twitch. He says, I'll try my best. Cool. Hey, no pressure, man. No pressure. We got you. We just missed Frankie. Julio says, Frankie, you gotta come on. Handren says over here on YouTube, he says, Frankie is the man. I agree. John says, I'll iron my overalls tonight, Tim. Make them look fresh. Chris Pab says, Tim, have Frankie wear his Snap-on sweatshirt. Trust me. LOL, Snap-on. Right? Oh, man. Good stuff. But yeah, I think the dressing up thing for tomorrow's mechanism, I think that's a great idea. Thank you, Bill, and thank you, Julio, for providing me with that inspiration. It's all on you guys. All on you guys. Alright, so now that we've got this upper part nice and smooth, we've got all of that kind of Dremel marks kind of gone. We're just going to go to town and scrape this down. So I'm going to pull out the actual scraper this time, so we don't kind of mess up too much of the residual plastic. And we're just going to feather this down. And hopefully this will do the job and we don't have to pull out the files and stuff like that. Because I'm really not feeling that, because with something like this, you can go way overboard with the files. A lot of times they just really don't work in certain situations, right? And I feel that this is probably one of them, with such kind of close proximity to other pieces and stuff, right? So scraping this down gradually is honestly probably your best bet. Even though it's slow and tedious, it's probably going to be one of the best things that we can do at this point. Yeah. That looks really good right now. Man, it's coming out a lot better. A lot better than what I had kind of even imagined, right? We're still got to use a little epoxy putty to fill in some of these areas right down here to contour this curve down to this point and fill in this area, especially right here in the corners and stuff like that, because that we're never going to be able to really get that down and feathered in really nicely. So it's just not gonna work very well with that. Let's see. Ranger Chris, so Tim is a gopher now? I don't get it. Julio, hashtag fucknap, right? Hashtag Mecha. There we go. Julio says, who knew dad fashion was coming back? This is... Keep talking, Julio. Keep talking. I will keep the camera on you all night long and make you feel super awkward. Yeah. Yeah, test me. Who says we all gotta fix the sink now? Man, come on now. Let's see. Aaron says, Pabs, where's my Neo Zeong at, right? Bill says, so bowling shirts all around, right? Nah. That don't count. That don't count. Bro Builder. Yeah, good question, Handren, right? Pabs, where are we? Yeah. Let's go. Ranger Chris says, actually, IPMS club I'm in had thought about doing bowling shirts before settling on Hawaiian shirts. Wow. Handren says, Tim, is that a ceramic knife you're using? No, this is just a ceramic scraper. This is not a knife. This is not sharp and will not cut in any way, shape, or form, obviously. And, you know, you can see I'm I'm kind of using pretty good pressure there, and yeah, it does not cut at all. This is just a scraper. That's all that this is. This is just a scraper. Let's see. Gumpel Uruguay, formalism. Nice. Welcome to Julioism, right? Brandon says, I just want to see someone wearing B's Billy Ray Virus shirt. Wow, maybe B will. Clippinism. Mikkel, what up? Mikkel, perfect timing. So tomorrow on Mechanism, we're making it a thing. We're all kind of doing like business casual, like button downs and stuff tomorrow. So make sure you look good for tomorrow's show. All right, because we're gonna show Julio, you know, how to dress nicely. So make sure you're looking good. All right, Mikkel. That's the price of admission. Is at least a button down. All right. Let's see. Chris Pabs. Oh, you'll see tomorrow. He says, I got stuff done. Bro Builder says, you think Tim is a nice piece of trim map? We all know it. Wow. What can I say? Julio says, blue button down, turned him into trim. Hey, whatever it takes, I guess, right? Bill says, thought you were starting streaming today, Pabby Cakes. I think he was going to, but he needs to figure out his overhead setup and everything. So yeah. Mikkel says, I will wear my suit, my 3-piece suit. No. It's strict business casual. It's no suits. No suits. We don't want to do that to people. So no, it's button downs. So just, you know, just look good. That's all. That's all. Because I felt like wearing my button down today. And Julio came on talking shit. And so I turned it right around and I flipped on him. And I said, look, you want to be on Mechanism? You fucking got to dress up. And that's the price of admission, son. So that's kind of where all this stemmed from. So yeah, so there we are. We're getting dressed up for Mechanism tomorrow. I hope you guys are going to enjoy it. It's gonna be great. Mike Wine, he's over there on the Mecha Army Facebook group. He says, "Sup, Tim? What's going on, Mikey? Mikey, if you're gonna be on tomorrow night, I think you know, you heard that we are, you know, full on business casual tomorrow. So make sure you wear a nice shirt. Pull that out of your closet and everything. I know you got some, so let's go." Bro Better says, what about a nice vest? I'm all good with the vest. You can wear a sweater over top your shirt. I don't care, whatever. Just make it, just, you know, business casual, make it look nice. No, you know, like I said, you don't have to wear a suit. You know, I think suit's a bit much. Even for Mechanism. But I think business casual, you know, every once in a while, just looking good, right? I think it'll be fun. Bill says it will be funny if everyone but Tim wears pajamas while he is business casual. Then you know what, Bill? Then they ain't getting on the show, plain and simple. And because I can see everyone beforehand what everybody's wearing before the show. So yeah, that's the price of admission tomorrow night. And I am the ticket taker. Yeah. Mike Wine says, will do. Nice. There we go. Who says, my man looked like he about to mow the lawn. Not in a button down. Come on, dude. Ranger Chris says, surprised no one suggested robes and or other cult attire. Nah. Julio. So, time out, right? Julio keeps doing his dad fashion thing, right? And I'm like, where are you getting, number one, where are you getting this from? Like, this is a blue button down is like a timeless look, right? Just because you don't dress up on the norm doesn't mean that some of us don't dress up, right? Like, I got jeans on, I got my white sneakers on. I'm like, I'm looking good right now. I can't help that I look good right now. No, but it's not dad fashion, dude. It's just simple looking good casual wear. Shit, I'd wear this anywhere. Anywhere that I could get away with it anyways. Yeah. Ranger Chris, Caddyshack reference. Was it? Oh, that must be a really deep cut then, because I love Caddyshack. I guess I missed that line all the years that I've watched this. Anyway, that sucks. I feel bad now. William Williams says, I can't wait for this mechanism later, everyone. Time to get those gains. Get some. Get some, Will. Let's see. Julio says, Jay said dad fashion and it's stuck. Doesn't mean you have to perpetuate it. Sam L says professional fashion. See? Sam? I think you got something. I think Sam's got something. Hell yeah. Henry says, I wear button-downs every day to work. Yeah, there ain't nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. Asani, bear with me. Sadapanat... Asani, I'm so sorry. I'm probably gonna butcher your last name. I'm sorry. Patanasuk. Asani, they say hello. I apologize profusely for butchering your last name. They're over there on Facebook. Thank you for watching. I appreciate that. Terry T's got a question. All right, Terry, here we go.
We have a question.
Question. What's your thought on the NT cutter with the soft grip on your Amazon store? Honestly, dude, if it's anything like the normal little NT cutter here, I would say it's probably pretty damn good. It uses the same blades, so that's the important thing. The grip is, I think, inconsequential at that point. So if you want kind of that soft cushion grip, if that's something that you like, then I would say go ahead, pick it up. Me personally, I really don't care for the cushiony grip. That's just me. I like the tactile feel of, you know, the knurling and everything like this on this little handle, so that's what I personally prefer. But I think it all comes down to preference, right? So yeah, that's what I would say. Ruslam says Chevy Chase shows up to the dress party in a robe. Damn, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch Caddyshack. I mean, it's been a little while since I've seen it, but I've seen it a lot. It's like one of my favorite shows, or movies, right? Thank you very little. Who says, but I love it. Anyway, Woody, he's over there on Facebook. He says, sup, everyone? What's going on, Woody? Sonny says, no worries, bro. Haha. Sorry. Oh, dude, I feel bad. He's cool with it, but I still feel bad. Asani, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Really, really do. Brandon says, I love the NT with the black grip. So nice. Cool. Yeah, in response to Terry's question. Awesome. CML, I bought the one without the soft grip and love it. So, yeah, I mean, and Bill says, I prefer it, Terry. Yeah, so there you go. It's all what your preference is, right? Kyle H says, it's good, Terry, but the handle is a bit thicker than what Tim uses. Yeah. Brandon says the jaws are a little funny on the one with the grip, but it's very comfortable, Brandon says. There we go. Persistent Turtle, Mr. Lucas, he's over there on YouTube. He says, hello all. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you. All right, so let's continue on now that we're caught up with the chat. And we're still kind of shaping this guy right here. Now, one thing that we're going to end up doing is when we go to apply the epoxy putty on here, one of the things that we have to take care of is this kind of weirdness right in here, this section here. And let's get you zoomed in so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, because that this is an important kind of contour with everything, right? All right, so this section, like right in here, this little weird portion right there, right? Because this comes up to here, but then this section is like this. So you've got this like 1 to 2 millimeter kind of just flat kind of weirdness, right? So when we go to apply the epoxy putty here in a little bit, what we're going to have to do is going to have to feather this down kind of like this, right? And just bring this corner down to this corner. So kind of make it look like that, right? So we're gonna curve this down and just kind of feather that in, right? Same thing on this side, not as bad, but you do have this kind of weirdness going on, right? This hard corner here. So we're gonna have to apply some epoxy putty right in here and just kind of feather that down, kind of like that, right? So that's one of the things that we're going to have to accomplish when we go to use the epoxy putty here in a little bit. So that's just one of the things. Let's see. Terry says, that's what I'm noticing. I wonder if the thicker grip will make it less maneuverable than the tactile grip, the knurled one, the normal one that I have right here. This little guy. You know, and that would kind of be, you know, my concern as well, because obviously with this smaller NT cutter handle here, you do have a lot of precision when working with this. And I think it does have to do with the diameter of the grip, because, you know, I think you have more dexterity with the smaller NT cutter, even over and above what you do with the Olfa, right? The Olfa is a great beginner's knife, and just kind of an overall general hobby knife for, you know, whatever, you know, general cutting and stuff like that. But for precision, the NT cutter, I don't think there's an equal. At least, you know, in my opinion, anyway. So, you know, I think it's more food for thought, but, you know, you got to make up your own mind. Hasaki Art says, Tim, getting epoxy putty down in that tight area would be a bit hard to sand smooth without neglecting the area around it. It will be challenging, sure, but we can absolutely do it, Hendren. That's there's no question in my mind that we can do it. Because if you remember, like the Spartan and stuff like that, there were some really tight spaces and stuff like that we had to get the epoxy putty into and everything. So I'm not really worried about it. We just got to take our time, and attention to detail is everything when we go to do that, right? Zero Kai Nathan, he's over there on YouTube. He says, I love my NT cutter. It glides through plastic and and skin like butter. Oh, don't I know it, right? Don't I know it? Rushan, Mr. Billy says, the rubberized one feels like a mechanical pencil to me. So very comfortable. So there you go. Food, all of this is food for thought. All of this is food for thought. So cheers to all the input, right? VFX10 Viper Josh, he's over there on YouTube. He says, between CA glue and putty work, I tend to have a bottle of melted runner to fill in the gaps. You know, I'm not a fan of that, mainly because it takes so long to cure, right? You're going to be waiting days for that stuff to cure properly. And then it's just, I don't know. It's not my preferred method, right? Epoxy putty, 8 hours, boom. That's a good enough time for me to be able to set it aside, come back to work on it later, and all that. CA glue in certain situations, sure. But for something like this, I think epoxy putty is going to be a little bit on the easier side to feather in and make it look good, right? So that's what we're ultimately going to be using here. But I would like to feather this upper part down just a little bit more, so it makes the puttying job just a little bit easier, right? But like what Henry said, you do have to take into account the surrounding areas, right? And let's get zoomed out just a little bit there, right to about there. That looks good. You have to take care of the surrounding areas and make sure that they're not marred, affected, whatever, in any way, shape, or form. And sometimes you just got to get in real close to see exactly what you're doing here. Are we on camera? There we go. Okay. Just smooth out any of the scraping lines here. And this is, honestly, this is one of the more tedious and more difficult parts when you are either extending or shortening limbs on scale models, right? Is just blending in the cuts and the extensions or the shortened pieces and everything. This is where your time is kind of sunk, right? Time sink, as they say. And this is a fairly aggressive sandpaper. I think this is about 400 or so. The grit's not on the back, but I think this kind of feels like a 400 to me. So this is fairly aggressive. We don't need anything fine right now because not only are we smoothing this piece, but we're also creating grip for the epoxy putty. Not that it needs it, but we're just kind of ensuring the fact that this will adhere to these pieces, right? Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, just basically trimming back some of these angles here that I'm not completely excited with. Oh, camera. Sorry about that, you guys. I'm just not super excited with how some of these angles blend together. So we trim those back and make those look okay, right? So, let's see. Let's get caught up here, shall we? Hasakiar says Viper the sprue glue takes a much longer time to cure, though. Yeah, I agree. Like days. Brandon says question.
We have a question.
He says, have you used Mr. Surfacer 500? What's your opinion on it? I have not used Mr. Surfacer 500. Actually, no, I take that back. I do have a bottle of it. It's rough, right? I know I see some guys, you know, fill seams with it and all that, and you know, that's okay. The potential issue that you're going to run into is that when you go to do your prime, your final priming stages, it can potentially reactivate that Mr. Surfacer 500 and cause that to dip in to that panel line again. Much like solvent-based filler putty. I mean, and you guys have heard me talk about this, you know, probably plenty of times before, but for those of you that are new, let me kind of explain it. The reason why I use super glue is because it's impervious to solvents in primer and paint and all that, so it doesn't, you know, succumb to that problem. The filler putty that is used sometimes, like the Tamiya White, Squadron Green filler putty, stuff like that, is solvent-based, and when you spread that on, it's just basically laying on top of the plastic, right? So when you go to prime, especially with a lacquer-based primer, the solvent in the primer have a tendency to reactivate that filler putty and cause it to dip, right? And that's when you see the seam reappear, or whatever void that, you know, you filled with that filler putty. So to avoid that, that's why I always suggest using super glue. So Mr. Surfacer, I honestly may fall into that same kind of trap, you know. You use it to fill in, you know, you use it to fill in, you know, little, you know, like seams and stuff like that, and it could potentially reactivate. That's why I say always use super glue. Always use super glue. It's always going to be a better bet, hands down, 100%, in my opinion. So, yeah. Bill, Mr. Rusham says, Surfacer 500 is great to check the build for flaws, but not for prep to paint at this scale, in my opinion. That's another reason. I agree. Yeah. Asani's over there on Facebook, and they say, thank you so much for the video. I'll definitely come back and replay it. Now it's 3 a.m. in my country. I need to go to sleep. Have a good day. Ah, Asani, thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Sorry I messed up your name, too. Ranger Chris says, use 500 to fill small gaps and surface imperfections. Been very happy so far. Kyle H says, Mr. Surfacer 500 works good for shallow gaps. Handren says, 500 is kind of the same as one Tamiya got, the Surfacer G. Chris Pab says, use Mr. Surfacer 500 as microfiller and sand down. Don't use it as seam filler. That's nuts. I agree. Very shallow scratches, nothing more. I mean, you can get the same results with, you know, your normal surfacer. I always use 1000, Mr. Surfacer 1000, right? And most of the time when I do the initial prime, I usually have very, very, very few things that I have to fix and prime over. A lot of the times I won't have anything, mainly because I am super particular about, you know, the plastic finish and everything, right? That's why I wet sand. That's why I showed you guys on last night's stream wet sanding, to get that plastic super smooth. So, you know, whatever floats your boat. I'm not going to tell you there's one correct way. It's just the way that I do it, and feel free to augment that, change it, use your own way, you know. Let's see. Kyle H says, I've definitely moved towards CA glue over Mr. Surfacer 500 in my current builds. Brandon says, I was curious, just curious if it would be better for the people using melted runner. I am a CA glue all the way. Nice. Ruslan says, melted runner is normally more for those who do not plan to paint. Fair. That's fair. I mean, you're still going to get a little discoloration and stuff, though, even if you use the same runner, you know, that the parts came off of. You know, you're gonna get inherently weirdness. So, I don't know. I mean, I always paint. I have not done anything like that in years. So, yeah, one of those things. One of those things. Anyway, all right. So, back to this here. Let's continue to get these angles to where we want them. And let's see, let's make sure we're on camera there. And right now I'm focusing right in here on this area right here, just to make that nice and smooth, right? Now, okay, so there's still a little bit of a a gap there. All right. A little sanding there to feather everything in. And this surface should be pretty much ready to go. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. That's what the doctor ordered right there. That's looking good. All right, cool, cool, cool. Excellent. Now, just gonna chop that back just a bit. Now, since this is nice and feathered down with the sandpaper and everything, this makes scraping this whole surface a lot easier. And at this point, we're just using light pressure, and we're just taking off very, very incremental layers of plastic here. Yeah. That looks pretty good. Okay. Now, one thing that you can do with your tweezers, and I don't do this honestly very often, but take a little piece of sandpaper, right? And we're just going to cut just a small strip, right? Just like this. Fold that over on itself like that. And like this, and then what we're going to do is try to make like a T shape, just like that, right? And then what we can do is we can take our tweezers here, and there you've got like a little teeny tiny little sanding implement, right? So you can take this just like that, and just smooth that area out without having to worry about the surface, or worrying about getting into, you know, these little nooks and crannies here. And this actually works really well. Yeah. Nice. Very nice. Nice and smooth on that. Really, really good. Alright, so now we're going to do the same thing to this side here. We're just basically feathering these two gaps here. We're just feathering that in and just making that seam up really, really good. And then we'll get to the part where we use the epoxy putty to gap, you know, fill in these gaps and everything. Yeah, looking good. Looking good. All right. So there we go. Really easy. Really easy. So, yeah, I don't use this little kind of method very often, but when you need it, man, it's there and it works pretty damn good. Let's see. Persistent Turtle says if the SD Gundams were scaled in proportion to their heads, what scale would that work out to? Rusam says closer to 1/100, but not exact. Actually, no, I don't. I honestly don't think it would be 1/100. I think where's the? Oh, here it is. So here's the unicorn head right here, or at least, you know, obviously part of it, right? But then here is the Justa 1/100 scale. Now, obviously, the unicorn is bigger, but it's not that much bigger, right? So honestly, I think this would probably work out to, I don't know, probably about 1/72nd, maybe 1/80th, something like that. I don't think it would be perfect grade size, but yeah, I think it would scale much bigger than 1/100 scale. So that's my best guess at this point. Good question. Good question. Lucas says, is the reflection making Tim's blade look white, or is it some super secret awesome blade only pros use? Bill says he's using a ceramic scraper. What? Lucas says, yeah. This is a ceramic scraper, right? It's not a knife. It's not sharp in any way, right? It's dull on the quote unquote cutting edge, but yeah, that's what this is. It's ceramic, and it just scrapes plastic, right? That's all, and it's actually works really well. Now, a cool thing about this particular ceramic scraper, and this is a BMC scraper, and the cool thing about this is the other side is curved like that, right? So you can actually work with this in more curvy kind of areas, right? And honestly, now that I think about it, probably would have been good for this area right here more than the flat blade, as they say. But I didn't think about it because I always use the flat over everything anyways. So, yeah. Brandon says, will you be using those rubber burnisher brushes to apply the putty into those areas? Probably not, because I use those rubber brushes more for applying masking tape and stuff like that, rather than applying putty, right? And let's get into the putty section here. So let's zoom out a little bit, right? Now, what I always like to do when working with epoxy putty, and actually let's get out of super zoom completely because you're going to need to see a little bit more than what this is capable of showing right now. So let's get rid of that. Let's get the windows back up here. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. And we're actually going to get zoomed back in right to about there. I think that looks really good. All right. So one thing that I like to have on hand is just a scrap piece of plastic here I use as kind of a mixing palette. And you can see kind of the, you know, leftover residual epoxy putty on this side, a little bit on this side as well. And this is just, you know, scrap piece of plastic sheet, right? We use this kind of as, like I said, a mixing palette. The other thing that you want to have on hand is a nice little container of water, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. Real quick, Julio says, yo, since it's all business tomorrow, do we have to have deep, meaningful conversation? I mean, we don't have to. It is still mechanism after all. We're just dressing up, right? Jay's got a question.
We have a question.
What would you consider the biggest challenge you face when doing a build for a build-off for GBWC? Time management, always. Always. It's always time management. Nothing else is harder for me than time management. Conceptualizing and coming up with ideas and everything, that's not insanely hard, but just staying within time frame, that's always the hardest part. It sucks, but time management, yeah. Time management sucks. My time management sucks. Rusham says, yes, everyone will be giving each other job interviews for GBWC Champion for 2020 since it doesn't look like the competition is going to happen. I don't know. I don't know about that. Kyle H says, we need to play the song Business Time from Flight of the Conchord. Oh, you want to get me kicked off YouTube? Is that it, Jay? No. Z says, hi, Tim, everyone. What's up, Z? Hendren says, time! LOL. Nice. Hendren, I have never made build-off deadline. Yeah. Yeah. Your mind gets racing, and you want to do things, and you think about things, and you get lost in the build, and it's just the time. You underestimate how long things are going to actually take, and it's one of those things that just really suck, and there's not much you can do about it other than try to do better next time. It's the shitty part of building, honestly. It's the real shitty part of building that I really dislike, is the time. All right, so Eris385 just jumped on. What has Tim got done today? Oh, well, we are working on feathering the cut in the leg here, and we just kind of sculpted this down, this upper piece. We just trimmed that down a little bit to kind of a more curvy profile, and now we're going to add a little epoxy putty here to feather everything in. So you're just in time to see that, right? All right, so Tamiya epoxy putty quick type comes in two of these, in these little strips of their material, right? And you mix 1 for 1, so 1 part to 1 part, mix them together, and then that's your epoxy putty. 8 hours later, it's hard as plastic. We're good to go. Everything's off to the races. Now, making sure that you have the proper, enough epoxy putty. That's always the challenge, because you usually make either more or less than what you actually need. It's never quite dead on, right? So we're only going to cut a little bit of what we need. So what I'm going to do is just hack off just a corner here. just like that, right? Just that little piece. And we're going to take, shit, that's not a problem, because it's not affected by water. So we could dip this in the water all day long and won't have an issue. Other than it won't stick to our hands, which is exactly what we want. All right, so we got a little residual there. I'm just gonna pop that on there, and just kind of ball up our little yellow piece there. Put that on the palette, and then what I like to do is actually set this piece over top of the other one, similar to that, and then that way it'll give you a rough indication of how much to cut for this part, right? So right about there, put that off to the side, and we'll just hack off that corner there too. Remove the plastic covering. Anyone know what color is the hardener? I think the white part is the hardener, actually. I think the yellow is the resin side of things, and I think the white is the hardener. But you know what? I very well could be wrong. All right. So one thing that I stress highly is that these little strips you put into a Ziploc bag so they don't dry out, right? So I just got, you know, some little IKEA bags here. Just pop one in one bag. Make sure to seal that up, right? Take the other one here. Now, you got to make sure that you've got the right amount of both, and it looks like we got a little less on the yellow part than the white. So we're going to hack off just a little bit more of the yellow part here and add that to our little blob, and that looks good. That looks good. All right, so let's do our due diligence. Put the yellow part in the bag, seal that up, make sure that's nice and good. All right, so now we got these two. We don't need our X-Acto knife anymore. This is where the water comes into play. The Tamiya epoxy putty is very, very sticky, and that's a good thing because you want it to adhere to the part. You don't want it to pop off after it's dry and cured and everything. So you want that adhesion. You want it to be nice and sticky. The one thing that you don't want is it to stick to your hands. So that's where the water comes into play. Real quick, let's see what let's get caught up here. Hanron says once you start customizing, a small build turns into a 4-month work. Yeah, no, absolutely. Bill says Tim is focused on fashion today, no building. LOL, just kidding. Haha. Era says awesome, perfect timing. Brandon says, we answered that. Bishop Moshio's over there on Twitch. Do you get the 25 gram or the 100 gram? Is it in your Amazon links? It is in the Amazon links. It has varying availability, right? I usually get the 100, or the, listen to me, 100. I usually get the 100 gram box simply because it's a little bit more economical. So that's... yeah, I usually go through enough of it. Let's put it that way. Hendren says, while ago, my Tamiya polyester putty came in. Looking forward to using it. Brandon says, Sasaki, that stuff has a use-by date, so don't wait too long. Yeah. Robot or Mr. Brian's over there. Remember, Robo uses a digital scale to measure his parts. You know, that's a little bit more... a little more anal than I'd prefer. I don't discount his methodology, but I'm not gonna get my scale out and weigh these things. That eyeballing it looks good enough to me, right? So all right, so you got your water, you got your two parts. Get your fingers, you know, nice and nice and wet, and then you just go to town mixing this stuff, right? And I mean, there's no one method of mixing this, right? I kind of like flatten it out and just continue to fold it over and stuff like that, right? That seems to work pretty well for me. But, you know, do kind of whatever works for you, right? But the key is to get a consistent color, right? And you want a slightly lighter yellow color than what the original material looks like, right? But just as long as everything's mixed and it's good, that's the most important part. That's the key. And right now we're just kind of kneading it and stuff like that. And as you notice, none of it's sticking to my hand right now, which is exactly what we want, right? Chris Pab says, I create long shapes and twirl them together. Oh, okay. Like a kindergarten, like playing with Play-Doh and stuff. No, I get it. I mean, there's no right way or wrong way. And I'm not demeaning that in any way, shape, or form. It's just whatever, you know, whatever floats your boat. Whatever mixes the epoxy putty best for you, use that method, right? Right? Kyle says the Tootsie Roll method. There you go. Hendren says Wave makes some awesome epoxy putty as well. Yeah. I still, you know what? I still have not used this stuff here, the Mr. Hobby epoxy putty. You know, I bought it while I was over in Dubai visiting our friends at Otaku ME, which, by the way, they're having a 50% off sale. So if you're watching this from the Middle East, man, go support, right? Yeah, I bought the Pro H and the Pro L. The H is the heavy kind, the normal kind, and the L obviously is the light kind, and I think that looks pretty good. So we're gonna keep the water here because we're still gonna need that, right? I bought that Mr. Hobby stuff over in Dubai when I was over there in January, and I talked to James Quinsat, who finished second in the world in 2018, and I asked him, I said, you know, what's your opinion of it? And he's just like, to me it's better. So I bought it anyway just to experiment and kind of, you know, give my thoughts on it. But you know what? I trust James' judgment completely. So if he says, you know, to me is probably better, then chances are to me is probably better. Anyway, what I like to use to spread this stuff on is this little kind of spatula, this little metal spatula tool here. I forget who makes this. This is just a generalized kind of putty style tool. It's almost got like a golf club head on one side. I don't use this side very much, but this, you know, kind of spatula looking side I actually use, you know, quite a bit. And the thing with it is dip it in the water first, right? So it won't stick to the actual tool itself, right? And then what we do, let's get you zoomed in a little bit more so you can see application. Just start hacking off little pieces of it, right? Just like that. And let's get the eyes down here, make sure we're on screen, and then we just kind of go to town and just kind of press that into the plastic, right? Now, since this is all wet and everything, chances are you're gonna have to kind of really press it in initially, but then once it sticks, then you're pretty much good to go. Now this is where kind of sculpting technique comes into play. Right? We're going to be really careful, and we're going to follow kind of all of our contours and everything, and just press this into the plastic ever so carefully here. And as you press this down and smooth this with the spatula blade here, this stuff will start to spread out really nicely, and it will start to overlap the pieces and everything. And that's really kind of what we're going for. And ideally, what we want is for this epoxy putty to be heavy on this side, but then taper all the way down to right down here to where basically the plastic is showing, right? And see how we contoured this all the way around here? We just followed that pencil line that we drew, and that's ultimately the final shape that we want, right? And we're just kind of patting this down just really, really lightly. And you know, you can re-wet your spatula and everything here, but this is coming out really, really good. Now, obviously there's some here in this gap that we wanted to preserve, and that's fine, right? That's completely fine, because what we can do after this is fully cured, we'll sand this down, and then we can just take our hobby knife and trim that out like it's nothing, and then that's going to come out really, really, really nice and smooth. So that side is just dead on where we want it to be. My main concern was just tapering this curve down to this point, right? So that's a nice teardrop shape now. That looks really, really quite good. So I'm super happy with that. I'm stoked at that point. Let's see. Eris says, look at Tim kneading the bread. Yeah. Chris Pab says, I twirl things all day long, Z. All day long. Nice. Sam L says, I have some Milliput and some epoxy waiting to try it out. Henry says, Tim, if you ever order stuff from Hobby Search, again, get some of the wave. Yeah, I might. I've been thinking about, well, shit, now I can't. God, it's the one thing about being laid off sucks, is because it completely upends your normal train of thought, right? Because here I am thinking normally just a second ago, like, oh yeah, I got to put an order into Hobby Search. I got to restock my option parts and everything. But then I'm like, I got laid off last week, so that's not going to happen anytime soon. That hurts. Anyway, Rusam says Milliput is kind of meh. Yeah, no, I agree. The adhesion on Milliput isn't the greatest. And if you get especially like the smooth type, it's soft. It's weirdly soft, right? Even after it's cured, it's weirdly soft. Now, the one good thing about Milliput, and this is the only upside that Milliput has over Tamiya and some of the other epoxy putties that I've tried, is that when you mix a little bit of a mixed up Milliput with water, it creates a nice little slurry, right? So you can basically just glaze that on a surface really, really nice and thin, and just gradually build that up and taper it to match two surfaces together that are just very, very thinly off, and that actually works super well. I did that on the Blue Destiny when I put the vents on the front of the cheeks, and I had to blend that in, the vents with the armor and everything. I used that Milliput slurry method. That worked great, like really, really well. And the side cheek is obviously it's very fragile. It's just a piece kind of floating out in space, and there's nothing behind it to support it. So you have to be very careful when sanding and everything. But the Milliput slurry method worked really good. Really good. So that really is the only one upside that Milliput has over kind of everything else. Otherwise, Milliput is, yeah, like Bill said, yeah. Sam L, it's all I could get my hands on during the quarantine. Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Air says got some Milliput as well. Mind you, it's not bad. It's just not as nearly as good as, you know, Tamiya QuickType. You know, you have to think of it like this. Tamiya QuickType, pinnacle, the best epoxy putty in my opinion that you can get. And say like Mr. Hobby, Waves, probably just under that. I've never tried Waves, and I have yet to try that, but that's what I'm guessing at this point. Just underneath of that kind of upper echelon Tamiya, you know, QuickType. But then, you know, a couple rungs down, you got your Milliput, you got your what is it? Epoxy Sculpt or whatever. You've got your Magic Sculpt, all those kind of, you know, more artsy epoxy putties, right? Which aren't bad. They're just not as good, right? So, yeah, I mean, use what you got. Learn with it. And then when hopefully things get back to normal, save up some money, invest in better materials, you know? It's a learning process. It's a stair-step method, right? Nobody jumps right into using the best stuff or knowing how to use the best stuff. You got to learn over time, right? So it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. So there we go. All right, so let's do the same thing to the other side here real quick, and then we'll wrap up for today. So tool, let's get that moistened. Cleave off a little hunk of epoxy putty here, right? And then we're just gonna do the same thing on this side, and you're just, you know, you're just kind of spreading this on, almost like kind of like butter or on toast or cream cheese on a bagel or whatever. Now, we didn't need nearly that much, so we're gonna take some of that off. And we don't, obviously we didn't need nearly this much either, right? You gotta eyeball it. It's just one of those things, right? Just one of those things. Now, from what I hear, and Shane, our boy, Mr. Daft Robo, had hit me onto this, along with some other really interesting things. He was the one that hit me on to the Insta set in the dropper bottle. So big shout out to Shane, Mr. Daft Robo, for that. But another thing that he kind of discovered was that if you put this, your epoxy putty, if you put it in the freezer, you could potentially still use it up to 2 or maybe even 3 days later, right? Because it slows down the curing process, the thermo whatever. I'm not a scientist. The thermogenic or whatever process in the curing, and it basically just slows that down to almost nothing, and you can kind of, like I said, use it up to, you know, 2-3 days later. I was just like, holy shit, that makes perfect sense. And he tried it, and yeah, evidently it's legit. So I might have to pop this in the freezer and maybe use it tomorrow or tonight or what have you, and see if it really does work, right? It's intriguing to say the least. But that's our boy Shane, man. Big shout out to Shane and Courtney. Courtney's awesome. They're both really amazing people. I've had the unique pleasure of hanging out with Shane at least twice. Once was, first time I met him was Anime NYC 2018. I think that was the first time he kind of came out to you know, like a convention and stuff, right? And then had the pleasure of hanging out with him at SCGMC last year, and that was just too much damn fun. But it always is. Always is. Alright, we're looking good there. Now, for those of you that worry about the water and everything, the water will evaporate and dry, and it will not affect overall adhesion in any way, shape, or form, which is a really good thing. I'm just trying my best to get this nice and smooth as much as I can initially, because that will make our finishing a lot easier. And there we go. All right. There is our epoxy puttied leg here, right? So let's get a before and after. Let's get, oh, we're already zoomed all the way in. So let's get a super zoom on this, yeah? And then we'll compare the two and see how these look. Here's our box. We're going to get zoomed out just a little bit to get them both in frame. There we go. All right, so there's our after, and there's our before. Look at that, right? That looks pretty good right there. Let's get zoomed out just a little bit more. There we go, so we can kind of get the full picture. Yeah. See, look at that. That looks good. And like I said, this middle section here where we need that gap, that's not a big deal. We can trim that back after this is completely cured, and make it look really, really nice. And then just basically that gap will be like it is normally. You know, completely normal. So, yeah, looks pretty damn good. Looks pretty damn good. Let's see. Henry says, me too. Then the lack of work kicked in. Yeah. Just like Tamiya Smooth. Yeah, Tamiya Smooth is awful. That's one of the weird things, right? Their quick type is amazing, but their smooth type is just absolute garbage. I tried that. I tried using that one time. And it's just like Milliput Smooth. It's soft after the fact. It's almost rubbery. It's weird. And I hated it. So chucked it in the bin, as they say. Henry says, or actually, Ranger Chris says, if you do a lot of puttying, it is worth the investment cost to get a good set of sculpting tools. Yeah, no doubt. And that's why I love this little guy. And that's why I have some of those silicone brushes. Those are really good for this type of stuff too. Honestly, what I'm more creating is angles, you know, rather than curves and stuff like that. So it's the traditional sculpting tools. I don't feel, for me, is that crucial, right? So I just go with what I got, right? But no, I completely agree. If you're sculpting, you know, if you're flaring curves on, say, like a Xeon suit, like the Cublé or something like that, which is nothing but curves, then absolutely some good sculpting tools are probably essential at that point. But for creating angles and stuff, you could probably, you know, refine those after the fact with, you know, files and stuff like that. So, pro and con type of thing. Henry says, if you notice the MOOC modeling magazines by the Japanese modelers, most of them were using the wave ones. The Wave one's what? The Wave epoxy putty? You lost me, Handren. I'm sorry, buddy. Cherry T says, having used both Tamiya and Mr. Hobby epoxy putty in the same project, I would have to say both are the same quality. I use the Mr. Hobby H type, and they seem to be more available in the U.S. than Tamiya. Yeah, Tamiya has a problem with availability. They don't sell it domestically at all. And if you try to contact Tamiya and they're like, no, it's against the law to sell it here. Whatever, it's not against the law to sell it here. They just don't have it on their domestic books. Idiots. Anyway, yeah, with Mr. Hobby being imported by Bluefin, yeah, it's probably going to be more readily available here than, say, Tamiya. But I love my Tamiya epoxy putty, man. I can't go wrong with this stuff. I love it. Bill says, okay, folks, have a great day. Bill, thank you, sir. Thank you for watching. VF Extend Viper Josh says, silicone brushes for putty? Mind blown. Yeah, dude. Where are they? Oh, where did I put them? Shaha, right here. I knew they were over here somewhere. Yeah, these little guys. This is this actually has this is like a chisel almost kind of shape to it. And there you can see that. But yeah, you know, you can kind of press that in, form these, dip this in water, smooth that out and everything. And then these I don't, EGU Boss, I don't know. These are in the Amazon link below if anybody's interested. They also have these little spherical deals on here and stuff like that too. And each brush comes with a different size sphere at the end. One of them is basically just a point. This one right here. And this is just kind of a roundy, kind of flat chisel look, right? But it's just got just a point where this one is kind of a sphere. And then this one here is just kind of more your traditional brush. And I used this for the, what's it called? Chroma flares. The armored Komodo chroma flares. Use this to apply that to surfaces and stuff. But you can use this as well. You can just wash that off because this is silicone. Just wash that off. Use this on epoxy putty. I use these to burnish down masking tape in you know, different corners and stuff like that. They have a lot of different uses. So yeah, very good stuff. Henry says, yeah, the Wave epoxy putty. Okay. Yeah, I might have to try it if I ever get a job. Hey. VFX 10 Viper says, just got a set of them brushes for the Armored Komodo stuff. Now I can utilize them further. Yeah, just, you know, like I said, just soap, water, clean them off, let them dry completely, and then you can use them for sky's the limit at that point, right? Like I said, I use them to kind of press down masking tape in, like, you know, hard to reach corners and stuff like that. I use those to press that down to make sure that the tape is properly adhered to the surface of the piece. Works great. And yeah, so they have multiple uses. So yeah, if anybody's interested, I got it in the Amazon link below. Y'all can hit it up. Anywho. Alright, so boys and girls, it's 5:04. Let's switch back to camera 1 here. And let's bring this guy back in here. Because, yeah, that sets off the button down, right? Yeah. Making this look good. But yeah, so you guys, if you want one of these awesome White Dingo hats right here. I definitely suggest you hit up www.childofmecha.com, hit the store button up at the top. You will find shirts, hats, this hat as well, prints of models and stuff like that, and all sorts of other cool stuff. So go hit that up. They make great Walking Dead in real life presents, or so I hear. If you're interested in any of the tools and materials that we worked with here today, Amazon link, like we said before, right down here on Twitch and YouTube. That side, if you're watching on Facebook, I do get a bit of commission based off the stuff that you buy, but it doesn't increase the cost for you. It goes to help support me and to support the stream. So go load up on all that stuff, right? Aside from that, if you are interested in kits and paints and materials and all that good stuff, the amazing Mecha Decal right here, which is going to be shipping sometime this week, kindly hit up our good friends right down here, USA Gundam Store. Mr. Adam and the crew will have everything that you need, hopefully, because they are getting slammed with orders from what I've been told by Adam. So get everything while you can, man. People are panic buying even Gundam kits, right? It's crazy. But you know what? You gotta stick in this thing for the long haul, right? So there you go. Anyway, let's get one more caught up with the chat, and we'll get out of here for the day. Kyle H says, dip a silicone brush in olive oil and it shapes epoxy putty without issue. Yeah, either that or water. Simple water, like we showed, right? Persistent Turtle, Mr. Lucas says, I use those silicone brushes a bunch when I clay sculpt. There you go, you're ready. HR148 is the Mr. Hobby Putty, the one in the purple box. Yes, purple and orange, right? There's two different kinds. There's the H and there's the L. The H is the heavy. The L, you guessed it, is the light. And that weight, right? So the H is more akin to the weight of, to me, epoxy putty. The L is lightweight stuff. So, yeah, that's basically what those are. Ranger Chris, well, gonna get off, need to paint a piece and go take a walk before some more rain gets here. Man, Chris, thank you for watching, buddy. Julio says, good stream, Tim. Thank you, man. Take it easy, fam. Blue Collar Mecha Builder, Persistent Turtle says, nice. Very good. All right, so boys and girls, I will be back here tomorrow afternoon to pick this thing up. We'll see how this epoxy putty comes out. I'm going to put this little guy in the freezer and see if that actually works, right? So hopefully that'll be a thing, right? But then come on back tomorrow night, because we're gonna do dress up mechanism tomorrow. We're gonna go button down business casual type stuff. We're going to show out tomorrow night. So come on back for that. Maybe we'll have some deep, meaningful conversation. Maybe we'll have shenanigans. Maybe a mix of both. Probably a mix of both. Probably more shenanigans than anything. But, hey, what are you going to do? Anyway, kids, thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Take care. Bye.